We are going to review your laws of exponents. So remember that when we are working with laws of exponents, most times we have to have the same base. So in number one, I'm multiplying a to the x, a to the y. I have a common base of a. So you keep your base and you add your exponents. For number two, I have a to the x to the y. A power to a power means to multiply. Number three looks similar, but notice that my base now is a product, a, b, quantity to the power of x. So you are going to give that power of x to each piece. So it becomes a to the x times b to the x. Number four, once again, I have two separate pieces as my base. Technically, it's one piece because it's a fraction, but each piece, the numerator and the denominator, is different or separate. So this becomes a to the x over b to the x. Number five is a fraction, but I have a common base in the numerator and the denominator. So when you have a common base, both a, you are going to keep the base and subtract your exponents. For number six, a to the negative x, when you have a negative exponent, you are going to form the reciprocal or move the base to the opposite location. So this becomes 1 over a to the positive x. If it was already in the denominator, so for example, if it was 1 over a to the negative x, this would become a to the positive x. And if you wanted to, you could, of course, make this a over 1. Number seven, anything to the 0 power is 1. Remember, be careful with your base. So if this was like 3a to the 0, my base is only the a, so this is really 3 times 1, which is just 3. But if it was 3a to the 0, the entire parentheses is the base, so it would equal 1. And number 8, working with negative exponents, once again, you are going to form the reciprocal, so this becomes b over a to the power of x. You could do this if you wanted to in multiple steps by giving that negative exponent to both the numerator and the denominator and then working with the negatives, but it's just as easy if it's in a parentheses, flip the entire fraction, forming the reciprocal, and then make it a positive. So those are your rules that you should have seen in previous courses. Let's take a look at some quick examples to use those rules. So we're going to try to get rid of negative exponents. That's our directions here, even though it's not written at the top. So number one, I have common base. So this is going to be my base of x. But I want to get rid of my negative exponents. So this becomes 1 over x to the positive 6. Number two, I have a quantity inside of parentheses raised to a power. So a power to a power means to multiply. And I have two different bases inside that parentheses. So I am going to give that exponent to each base. So this becomes x to the negative 6, because 2 times negative 3 gives me negative 6, times y to the positive 9, because negative 3 times negative 3 gives me positive 9. Working with my negative exponents, remember, only negatives move. So that y to the 9th is a positive. I'm not changing it. This becomes y to the 9th over x to the 6th. Okay, and then lastly, number 3, I have a fraction, which is division. Same base x's, same base y's. Even though there's two different bases, we're going to group them together. So this becomes x negative 3 minus 4, y to the 2 minus 5. You don't need to show this step, but I just want you to see where it's coming from. So this becomes x to the negative 7, y to the negative 3. Now notice how they are both negative, so they are both going to move to the denominator to become positive, and then you need a placeholder in your numerator, so there's a 1. So those are your laws of exponents and 3 examples. We're going to take a look at lots more, and they're going to get a lot more complicated, but you need to memorize these basic rules and get used to working with them together in the same problem.